Hello, everyone. This is Rosemary Coates in Silicon Valley. I'm your host for this edition of the Frictionless Supply Chain Podcast. I'm the executive director of the Reshoring Institute, where we help companies bring back or expand their manufacturing in the US. And I'm contributing a writer to Supply Chain Management Review. Today, I'm joined by Ruyi Gaffney, the COO at I5 Services and CONNEX Marketplace, and a principal at Episem Analytics. I think that's how you say it.
That's correct.
Today, we're going to focus on CONNEX Marketplace. However, it's an industry platform and registry that connects U.S. manufacturers in a searchable database. A really important piece of technology. We've used CONNEX to help our clients at the Reshoring Institute to find suppliers in the US, and it's really an interesting tool. But I'm going to let Rui tell you all about this. So let's get started. Welcome, Rui.
Well, thank you, Rosemary. Thanks again for having me.
Yes. Can you tell us about your background and how you came to work at I5?
Sure thing. So my background throughout my career, I'm mostly in the leadership position with a lot of experience in supply chain management, procurement, strategic sourcing, outsourcing, operations, supply chain risk management, compliance, and so on and so forth. Mostly I worked for the large global Fortune 200, 300 companies in many different industries, including IT, financial, telecommunications, and of course, manufacturing. I have a lot of experiences in complex, merger acquisition integrations, business transformation, technology, operations, implementation, and improvements. And I think it's mostly because of those backgrounds. I was tapped by the founder and CEO of I5 Services, Alan Davis, to help him to transform the business from somewhat a startup to, the next level, and also to help him to build a top-notch team to carry forward with the mission that he started probably about 8, 9 years ago. So that's how I came to working for CONNEX Marketplace. And my responsibility here in I5 is really just to build the strategies, executing operational efficiencies and rigors to really support the revenue growth here.
Okay. So just for clarity, can you explain how I5 is organized and where CONNEX, which is what we're going to focus on today, where it fits into the company?
Of course. So I5 Services is a Utah-based SaaS company. CONNEX Marketplace really is the brand name of the application offered by
Uh,
I5. So CONNEX Marketplace is this online manufacturing platform, mainly to connect all the US manufacturers and suppliers into this single searchable, accurate supply chain solution. And it also helps to illuminate any potential risks in the supply chain and provide the mitigation to address these risks. So it's been developed by I5 Services in the last, I'll say 8 years. And it's really in collaboration with many, many national manufacturing organizations and large and the small manufacturers themselves. Some of the organizations we collaborated with and we continue to work with are, the National Association of Manufacturers, NAM, or the NAM, the American Small Manufacturing Coalition, the ASMC, AMCC is another one, American Manufacturing Communities Collaborative, and there's many more. We're not really just another, I know there's a lot of platforms out there, but the way we look at this, we're not just another broker, we're like the bid board platform of some sort. We really see this as a very revolutionary, a new way for our domestic US manufacturers and suppliers to securely to find and be found and connect and do business directly with each other. Through the platform for large manufacturers and buyers, such as, the OEMs, the primes, really any manufacturers and buyers, right? They can post their needs on our exchange center on the platform, and they can quickly find qualified suppliers who have the capabilities to meet those needs and to perform the tasks. It significantly reduced the long procurement cycle and supplier scouting timeline, especially for someone like myself from a very large, global corporation background. I see this firsthand. It also allows manufacturers to, especially the large ones, when you have multiple tiers of suppliers within your organization, right? Any given global, company, easily you could have 2,000-3,000 suppliers. There's tier 1, 2, 3. So
Yeah.
CONNEX Marketplace allows these manufacturers or these buyers to visualize their entire supply chain, the supply chain risks, and it offers solutions such as recommending alternative suppliers, such as flagging any suppliers that is on
Yeah.
a government do not do business list.
So from my perspective, it really solves a couple of problems. So first of all, small suppliers in particular who
I
aren't listed
agree.
anywhere else, right? So we've worked with and interviewed a lot of different manufacturing companies that might have a machine shop, for example,
Yes.
or be doing some kind of manufacturing that's relatively local. And they don't have visibility in on any other place. And so when a buyer is looking for those kind of services, they can't find that supplier. So it's a huge disconnect. And
Mm.
if they can list their products and their services on Connex, and it's a good way to find them, I guess I would say. And then the other problem that it solves, and we've seen this a lot, we've had a number of clients at the Reshoring Institute that are looking for a specific product and can't find it, that it's not made anymore in the US, or their suppliers went to China, to support manufacturing there, and it's just not made again in the US yet. So what we've done is find potential suppliers.
Mhm.
So those suppliers that are maybe in the chemical space or automotive or some other space, that while they aren't making that specific product today, they have a potential for making it. And that's an incredible helpful service as well. So Connex, provides the opportunity to find all these kind of suppliers. And I think that's what makes it so incredibly valuable.
You are absolutely right. We have many, many thousands, tens of thousands of small, medium-sized manufacturers in the US who are on our platform. And especially for these smaller size manufacturers, they can easily find new business opportunities they are uniquely qualified for, right? So our profile, so whenever a manufacturer signs up with CONNEX Marketplace, they complete a profile. And in the CONNEX profile, it contains, hundreds of data points of who these manufacturers are, what they make today, but also very importantly, what their capability is. So that means, like you give the example of something that is not currently made by a particular manufacturer, but they have the capability and that's being connected and that capability being leveraged to make something that they've never done before. And we've seen many, examples of that. And also, what the processes they use, right? What certifications they have,
Yeah.
what equipment they have, and so on and so forth. So this really helps them to quickly found by the large primes and OEMs who are looking for these new suppliers.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific service and easy to use and so forth. To explain the concept of marketplace, if you will, I think not everybody probably understands what that means. But can you describe a marketplace?
Yeah, so the marketplace is really this thing called the exchange center. As I tried to explain earlier, the exchange center is where a manufacturer either can be found by a buyer, and a buyer can look for a particular type of products and the capabilities, certifications, and anything to the extent the buyer is looking for. So you can post as a buyer of RFP, RFI, of a particular, product, or, the size of, a product. And also as a, as a manufacturer, you can go onto the exchange center, the platform, to look for these opportunities. And we also provide the service to the manufacturers and as well as to the buyers to help to make the connections, right? Especially for small, medium-sized manufacturers, many times they don't have that sort of the capacity or the resources to do so. And we help them to get on the exchange center looking for these opportunities, and as needed, even to facilitate them to be qualified of a particular certification or other, qualification factors.
Yeah, so a marketplace is kind of a meeting place, I guess I would say, for buyers and sellers to determine if there's a product that the buyer is interested in, and the seller to profile all their attributes for the particular product. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think visually, if we think about it like almost like a shopping mall where the suppliers are there with their storefronts saying, this is what we have to offer, and the buyers come along and decide what they want to buy. Yeah,
Yes.
but on an industrial scale and
In a
industrial products, yeah.
Yeah, and especially you think of the small manufacturers, and also you think of the large buyers. Sometimes they say, okay, I'm looking for a particular type of a certification, of a size, of a capability. It can be as specific as I'm looking for a manufacturer who's a, woman-owned, we're like a veteran-owned business. Those are the things, those are the criteria that you can put in or onto the platform, and that's the different data points and the filters can be used to help you to narrow your search and quickly to find what you're looking for.
Yeah. Wow, it saves a lot of time and effort on the buyer's part also to be
Yes.
able to go to one central location instead of trying to do Google searches or, looking something up. Oh, one of the things that I think is really interesting too is that you've partnered with a lot of the MEPs around the nation. The MEPs, of course, are the Manufacturing Extension Partnership under the Department of Commerce. And they are in each state, it's my understanding, established to help manufacturers grow and prosper in their state. And by partnering with CONNEX, and it offers these smaller manufacturers in particular an opportunity to get visibility. Can you tell us a little bit more about that program?
Yeah, of course. And this is really one of the key differentiators of our CONNEX Marketplace and what sets it apart from other platforms that may be out there. So you're absolutely right. There are MEP in every single state. This is the Manufacturing Extension Partnership at the state level. So we have over the many years being working with the organizations at the state level, we really have established this local and the national partnerships across the country. They're really critical to the success of our platform, and really ultimately is the success of the manufacturers on our platform, right? So at this local level, we customize the implementation of our platforms through the state partnership, including the state MEP organizations. And these MEP offices, they also bring other local and regional partners, such as the Chamber of Commerce and the local trade organizations into this whole working relationship and the process. So, every time when our platform launches in a particular state, the state, does the promotion and the training to the manufacturers within their state. And then they help to get them signed up to using the platform. And in turn, become one of the main points of contact for the in-state end users. And this is really critical because, we want to partner with organizations that are already working with manufacturers, and they're really the boots on the ground people. And then we enable them as our partners. So
the MEPs are sort of partly economic development people, they're always looking for manufacturers that they can help
Yes.
to grow and prosper in their state. And by connecting with you, it is a great boon to visibility for a lot of these manufacturers and smaller manufacturers, or those in rural areas, or those that are not connected in any other way, to get them some exposure and visibility. It's really great. And then from a buyer perspective, I know at the Reshoring Institute, we've in helping customers reestablish their supply chains in the US, which
Yeah.
is a popular idea these days. So a lot of companies are not necessarily bringing all of their manufacturing back, but they're starting to source more products in the US, and they have a heck of a time finding suppliers. And so going to CONNEX, where you are profiling these manufacturers all across the US, is extremely helpful.
You really touch on three really important points, right? One is uh, the MEPs, right? They're front and center and they're in the heart of this, right? Because they're at the state level, they know, what's going on bottom up, inside out. And they, we've seen with our own eyes, they make such a big difference and such a great impact, right? In
Yeah.
boosting the state, manufacturing business and really hold them together. And, they're hands-on promoting, helping support. So the impact is just fantastic and phenomenal. And then, to your second point, we, in addition to working at the state level, we also work with, institutions and the organization at the national level. And of course, Rosemary, with your Reshoring Institute, that's one of, the partners we've been working with. And thank you again for always out there, helping us and promoting us and helping us to get, manufacturers onto our platform. But like I said earlier, we also work with like NAMs, the AMs, AMSC, AMCC, even, at the federal level, for example, we recently started some conversations with like the DoD Small Business Office, right, to promote, encourage manufacturers to use the platform. But, to the last point you just referenced, right, it's like you see more and more of our buyers in country, in the US buyers, they're looking to buy local, right? Whether it's local of within my state or the next state over. So with the CONNEX Marketplace, that really is something that they can use on a day-to-day basis to look for a local provider, to look for a provider 100 miles from, the buyer is. And that really is, it provides a tremendous value, because in the past, like you said, many times people are looking for things and they didn't even know it's being manufactured locally, is being manufactured just down the street or just a state or
Right.
2 states over. You don't have to go overseas. You don't have to, go offshore to find it. It's right here.
Right. And, it sort of addresses two issues. So certainly being closer in proximity is going to help you with fulfillment issues and
Absolutely.
faster, communication and turnaround times. But it also addresses a sustainability issue. So the closer
Yes.
you're manufacturing uh, to your customer base, the less pollution you're creating in the environment. You don't have so much in transit time, or the pollution resulting from transportation and so forth. So
Absolutely.
it addresses another one of those issues that's on everybody's board agenda these days. It's really important.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Can you give us a couple of examples of customers who have used CONNEX and successfully?
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely can. I want to mention something. First is, we've been teaming up, co-hosting with the NAM, the National Manufacturing Association, of this thing called the National Supply Chain Connection Solution. It's the NSCCS. It's a series of events where we bring, different organizations, whether it's at the national, state level. We bring in OEMs, primes, we bring in manufacturers, we bring in, experts in the supply chain risk management space. And the reason I reference this is because Last Thursday, we actually had our second meeting in the series right here in DC. And we had quite a few presenters to coming in to give examples of how best to leverage a platform like CONNEX Marketplace, success stories, case studies, and also how best to work together, because the US manufacturing and supply chain risk management is such, it's a big issue, right? This is a big topic. It really is a national issue. It's too big of a problem for just one group to solve by itself. So, everyone wants to work together at every level to solve this. And this is, why we started to have these sort of events. But the point is, some of the presenters, for example, we had Kentucky Association of Manufacturers. We have the Wyoming, Manufacturing Works. We have the chief manufacturing officer from the state of Connecticut. We have the director of Florida Mix, which is a in-state MEP. They all give great examples of customer success, right? So one example was given by the Wyoming manufacturing works is this local business is called L&H Industrial. So it was a small manufacturer of oil and gas mining equipment. And Wyoming is big on the energy sector. So they make this enormous pieces of equipment used in the oil and gas fields, right? So of course, the gas and oil business, this energy sector in the past several years, it has the ups and downs, right? So a few years ago, L&H, they started looking to diversify their manufacturing into other industries to help, stabilize, their employment, but also to look for opportunities to continue to grow. It's a company with a few hundreds of employees in the rural Wyoming. So they signed up for CONNEX Marketplace. With the support by the state MEP, the Wyoming Manufacturing Works. And then they completed their profile, and then, almost immediately they were notified of a new contract opportunity with one of the large OEMs. And they qualified for that, right? So they have all the equipment needed for the job by, looking for by this OEM. But unfortunately, they never worked in the aerospace industry before. So that was a bit of a scare. It's like, oh, hey, we got this almost like a big breakthrough, but, we never worked there before. What do we do? So teamed up with, us and also the MEP, local MEP office, the manufacturing works. So we actually collectively helped L&H to get ready to meet with this OEM. And we helped them to obtain all the necessary certifications for aerospace. And also eventually within about 10 months, we were able to help them to obtain this new contract with OEM.
Wow.
So I know it's incredible.
Yeah.
So L&H, they literally within 10 months signing up onto the CONNEX Marketplace, they were awarded a very large contract, from this OEM. And usually, that will take at least a few years, right? Both for the OEMs to find and qualify a new supplier, but also for any small local, supplier to be qualified for such a significant, contract award. So, for L&H, it was just huge success as, they were looking to diversify into new markets and to find new opportunities. And this new contract, it not only allows them to retain all of their workforce, but also it helped it to grow into this new industry that they were not part of. So that was, such a, almost like a heartwarming story in addition to a success story. So that's one example. If you have time, I can give another example. And this is another great one, is very small, and it's a veteran-owned machine shop in Texas. And whenever it comes to veteran-owned business, it comes to my heart because my husband is a veteran. So
Okay.
this is a small Texas, machine shop. It's called Production Machine and Tooling. So they have a team of just about 25 employees, and they're constantly looking for new business opportunities and contracts, and especially with any large OEMs. So, we rolled out CONNEX Marketplace in the Western Texas region. And immediately, after they signed up using our tool, they finished their, profile, and they start to search on the exchange center I was talking about on our platform for new opportunities that they may be qualified for. So they found a need that has been, posted by a large OEM in Pennsylvania, and they responded to the post right away. And literally, like within a day, they were on the phone with this OEM in Pennsylvania, um, and they're having a conversation directly, right, with the buying team, and start to talk about, what's next, right? So Production Machine Tooling, this is a small machine shop in Texas, they were able to get this contract with a large OEM, and then, they told us, they were like, this is unbelievable because they tried every way possible to get in front of these large OEMs, and they said, CONNEX is the only tool that actually works. And they said usually it takes, a long time, it could be years, handing out the cards in the trade shows, knocking
Right.
on doors, making phone calls, just trying to get in front of these buyers,
Right.
right? But through CONNEX, they were immediately connected, and they were able to, start the contracting process, and they're right on, their way.
That's
So
fantastic.
these
Yeah.
are just, fantastic, successes, and we love to hear them
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, it's surprising in this day and age, there's so little visibility like that, but they're just, I think a lot of buyers just depend on Google searches if they're looking for a new supplier or some other way, and they don't have all the criteria like, a veteran-owned business, or, some kind of individual. They're looking for a woman-owned business, or it's really hard to find that in an unqualified search engine like Google.
Absolutely.
CONNEX is much easier, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is why we're such, we're such a powerful tool, right? And
yeah,
especially for, the small, medium-sized manufacturers, you really don't have any, capability or the resources to build anything on your own, and you need something like this to
right.
really help you to look for other opportunities and to expand your business and continue to grow.
Are you seeing an uptick where industrial buyers are looking for more domestic suppliers? I mean, have you seen that increase over the past year or so?
Yeah, definitely. So there's been, a lot of reports lately on how large manufacturers looking to find U.S. suppliers to meet their needs. As a matter of fact, even just, I think it was last week or the week before, there was a Wall Street Journal article by John Hillman, I think. It's called "America is Back in the Factory Business." It's all about, the Made in the USA rebound, right? So this is a lot of factors contributing into this geopolitical, the COVID,
Right.
cost, and the reliability factors, and many, many more. So we've definitely been seeing this within CONNEX Marketplace. So many manufacturers are looking for, US-based suppliers who can meet their manufacturing needs, and using CONNEX to find them. And like, all the things we said earlier, we really make this easier to search and filter the US manufacturers to find exactly, who they're looking for, because we have so many different search
Yeah.
filters as, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think, after the pandemic, there was so much visibility into the risk in supply chains and these long global supply chains, and how companies couldn't get the parts they wanted, and they had no visibility, and factories were opening and closing and so forth. And I think, that introduction of risk into supply chain thinking really caused a lot of this reshoring trend, at least in terms of domestic sourcing. And what we're seeing anyway, anecdotally, is a lot of companies coming to us and asking for assistance in domestic sourcing, where they had done most of their sourcing overseas and found during the pandemic that it just wasn't going to work in the future. Too risky, and we would prefer to source locally, domestically.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, not only we see the surge of, this trend, but also it's the challenge, right? Of they want to buy locally, they want to buy from the US, but they don't know if this is, available in the US or where
Or
is it available.
competitive, right? Or competitive,
Or
right? It's gotta,
competitive, right? Yeah.
the
But
pricing's got.
it's interesting. There's another, just another example. Even like I said, last week we had this event with NAM, the NSCCS event, where we had I think he's the executive director of the Joint Rapid Acquisition Cell at the office of the Secretary of Defense, right? So he was one of the guest speakers. Brent Ingram is excellent and a fantastic, a person. He came to give a speech at the beginning of the event, and somewhere within his speech, he said, currently they have this urgent need for precision ball bearings. And bear in mind, this is just, not rehearsed, not provided previously. Literally, he's just talking, standing on the podium in front of the audience, both in the room and online. And I kid you not, Rosemary, immediately, literally like within 15 minutes after he said that, this precision ball bearing is in need, we start to see online chats coming through these are the state MEPs, these are our end users and our partners, right? They basically start to, and also including our own, team who did a quick search just on our, platform. And guess what? We in the US, actually, we have a lot of precision ball bearings manufacturers,
Right.
who can provide this, piece of, this piece,
Yeah.
right, to the government, to the buyers. They manufacture high quality precision ball bearings for aerospace and the defense industries, but it's not known, right? If you don't use
Yeah,
it.
well, and that's a really important point too, because the new the three new big acts, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Chips and Sciences Act, and the Infrastructure Act, all three of them require sourcing in the US. In order to spend those federal funds, you have to be buying from US manufacturers. A certain percentage has to be sourced in the US. And as a result of that, we're going to be looking for a lot more US manufacturers. And so being able to find them is really helpful. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and that's a
great.
great thing, right? That's a great thing. We're
Yeah.
finally buying in the US. We're promoting our own manufacturing and manufacturers, and we're able to be self-sufficient. And that's just, it's such a great change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Rui. It's been really great. There are a lot of supply chain professionals that are listening today.
Yeah.
And as a leader, what advice do you have for people, particularly women, who want to advance in their career?
Oh, well, well, thanks for asking the question. Thanks again for having me here. And if I have to say, any, whether it's advice or just my own experience, I just want to say, whatever, we do, right? Just be passionate about it. You do what you're passionate about. Put your heart in it and absolutely, give it at least 100%. That's all that matters. At least
Very
from my
good advice.
perspective.
Yeah, very good advice.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Rui. It was really interesting to talk to you, and I hope people take advantage of the opportunity to check out CONNEX. Can you give us your contact information if listeners want to learn more about CONNEX or get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Our website is www.connexmarketplace.com. It's all in one word. Is CONNEX Marketplace, MARKETPLACE.com. I don't know if there's a way we can put the the website email or the address in like a chat or to be accompanied by the podcast when it's posted.
It will be in the notes on the
Then
podcast.
yes, that sounds great. Yeah, put in a note, and of course, Rosemary, you have my contact information, my email. Feel free to put it out there. More than happy to connect with your audience and whether provide additional information or answer questions. And thanks again for having me.
Aha, thank you so much. And you can listen to more frictionless supply chain podcasts posted on Supply Chain Management Review's landing page, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can reach me, Rosemary Coates, at rcoates@reshoringinstitute.org, and visit our website, www.reshoringinstitute.org, where we publish all of our research on manufacturing in America. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.